Let's explore another function of Tivatrainer. Tivatrainer will allow you to give any drug in a TCI way of dosing. And to demonstrate it, I'm going to select good old fentanyl because it has properties that are useful for this demonstration. I have to enter the weight and all kind of other data of my patient, and then I'm in the simulation screen, and instead of manual dosing, I'm now going to select the IVAssist mode, which is done over here. Select the IVAssist, and you can see it's been selected by this label over here. I have to enter a target, and let's go for 3 nanogram per ml. And after accepting the target, I enter a screen that will show me what I have to do to obtain this concentration. Now, this is done with a precision of 90%, which means that the concentration in the effect will be plus or minus 10%. This is a little bit large for a analgesic, so I'm going to increase the target, increase the precision to 95%. And the resulting infusions from these calculations are much more frequent changes, of course, then you go for a lower precision. If I increase this precision even more, then it's going to be more like a TCI system with very frequent changes over time, which is not very practical. So 96% is probably the best for a manual poor man's TCI. Now, it shows me the totals that are given after every period of unchanged infusion, and I can use these totals to set the alarms on my manual infusion pump. Most modern infusion pumps have the possibility to set alarms for achieving a certain amount of drug going into your patient. Now, it just be possible that I've given the bolus by hand and not by the infusion pump. So I can subtract the bolus, and then I get the proper totals of the periods that the infusion run. I can look at the amount. This is given in mils. Let's change that to milligrams or micrograms per kilogram. And I can execute this scheme to see what happens with my concentrations. And this is the resulting concentration of this dosing scheme. There's a bolus given of 3.7 mils, 2.3 mics per kilogram, and this will increase the central concentration up to 20 nanograms per mil. But the effect site concentration is, even with this bolus, slowly rising over about 2 minutes to the effective target. But over time, I have to change my infusion. Let's make the scale a little bit different. It's now running at 8.8 mils per hour, and if I zoom out or zoom in, whatever you consider as zooming out or zooming in, then I can see that I have to change my infusion over time, because it's a kind of decrease in the concentration, but there will be slowly an increase in concentration. And the reason for that is that fentanyl has a low clearance and a high distribution. So the drug will flow from the central compartment. Most of the drug will go into the second compartment and even into the large third compartment, but it will not be very much cleared from the blood. So a constant infusion will cause the blood concentration to rise and rise and rise, and it will then accumulate in the central compartment. So I have to change the infusion rate, and I can even use Tivatrainer to help me to alarm when I have to change my infusion rate, because there's also a real-time mode for Tivatrainer, which can be accessed by pressing the time button and start the real-time simulation. And you can see that we're now at this time point, and I have to change my infusion rate in 37 seconds. And 30 seconds before I have to change my infusion rate, there will be an alarm, and this alarm will give a sound and help me to remember that I changed my infusion. Now, I can also change my target if I need to, and I'm going to switch off the real-time mode. And let's say that I need a little bit higher level of analgesia. Well, by simply pressing the plus button, I can change the target that was on 3 and go, for example, to 4. And in order to get there, I have to give a bolus of 1.1 mil and have to change my my infusions. We can implement this, and you can see what happens in the blood concentration, overshoot again, and an effect site concentration that goes to the new target. Well, let's zoom out a little bit more, because what happens if I decrease the target. Let's say I want to have a lower target over here, press the plus button, go for a target of, let's say, 2. Now, if you remember the TCI mode, then you will notice that if you decrease your target, this will cause a stopping of the infusion until the new target is reached, and then the infusion will restart. Well, with the IVAssist mode, I considered it a little bit dangerous, because there will be a point where you just forget to switch on the infusion. So the IVAssist mode accepts the little bit slower decrease of the blood concentration and does not stop the infusion. It just simulates a new infusion and immediately to be switched after the change of the target. Now, it could be that you are a little bit worried about this high overshoot in the blood concentration, that you want not the effect site concentration to be targeted, but the blood site concentration. And this is also possible. We're going to reset the data, and we're going to enter a new target, but instead of using the effect site concentration, I'm going to use the blood concentration. Confirm this, and I can switch over between blood and effect over here. And for a blood concentration, the bolus will decrease, so lesser overshoot in the central compartment, but more changes in the infusion rates. As you can see over here, there are quite more changes required in the infusion rate, so in order not to overshoot my target.